This week is called Shabbat Hagadol, the big Shabbat. It always falls right before Pesach, the holiday that celebrates freedom. Quite a paradox, right? The paradox is that this year we will celebrate the holiday of freedom in confinement. No family, no friends to invite. It's like being back in Egypt. We're all confined into our homes. A whole bunch of freedom has been taken away from us. The situation is too ironic not to be filled with meaning. But what is this meaning? I want to know. We're confined. God is sending each of us a strong message. But what is this message? I want to know. Let's look at a few issues that our current situation brings to mind. Perhaps a message common to all of us is to reevaluate our sets of values. Right now, our Oscar winners are the healthcare professionals, the first responders, the police force. Do I need a pandemic to realize what is important in my life? Right now, many people realize the importance of meditation and prayer in order to connect with the source of all life, the highest power in the universe. Do I need a pandemic to realize what is important for my soul? If we talk about values, how and where should I spend my resources? If we emerge from this experience exactly the same as we were before, we will most likely have missed the biggest opportunity ever given in our life. Another issue is, I realize right now that I might have relied on certain people for advancement in work, financial security, or strategic contact for future opportunities. So far, most of us have relied on human beings for these things. I usually say that I rely on myself. All this seems quite meaningless at this moment because we're all quite powerless. Maybe all along we have been really relying on the wrong people. Maybe the one we should really kiss up to is Hashem. What a novel idea. Maybe, just maybe, if I am aligned with a higher power, things will align for the best in my life. We don't know how life will be after this pandemic, but one thing seems clear: it won't be the same as before. Some people will have to rely on help. Some people will be called to help. One thing for sure, we're all called more than ever to be partners with God. And that is one of the strongest ways to connect. We talk about connection. We talk about alignment. How do we achieve that? And how can we be partners with God? As usual, the Parashat is filled with insights. Parashat Tzav this week is all about korbanot, the offerings, the sacrifices that were brought to the sanctuary. Usually the word korban, plural korbanot, is translated as sacrifice. Unfortunately, this isn't a totally accurate translation. Of course, it's a sacrifice because we take one of our possessions and we bring it to be sacrificed. Now, the word korban happens to share the same root as karov, that means close. Therefore, a korban, an offering, a sacrifice, was really a way to get closer to God. You see, more than ever, the universe is giving us a strong message. It's telling us to get closer, to think of our connection with God and make it stronger. Two things I would like to bring up from this parasha about korbanot. First are the ashes. We learned in this parasha that the Kohen would have to change from the fancy clothing and put special clothing in order to sweep up the ashes. That task was not given to a maintenance crew. The Kohen was the one who had to do this. It's a very strong message. It's telling us that there was no task that was below the Kohen. Likewise for us, there is nothing that is below us. Doing God's work isn't by being a hero, by working for Doctors Without Frontiers, for example. No, God's work is found in the smallest everyday tasks. For example, from making our bed in the morning. God, bring order in my life as I bring order in my room. Washing dishes. God, clean my soul as I am cleaning these dishes. Calling someone. God, connect with me as I am connecting with people. God's work continues in all aspects of our life. How we treat other people, for example. How generous we are. Mindfulness in details is a source of connection. The other thing is fire. It says, lo tirbe. It must not go out. The sacrifices were in the altar, and it said that the fire should always be there, always roaring, never extinguished. What does fire represent? Fire represents our passion, our love. And the Torah says, don't ever let this passion, don't ever let this love being extinguished. Make it big and roaring, a big fire inside of you. Now the Maggid of Mezrich gave an alternative explanation. Lo in Hebrew means no or not. It's the negative. And tirbe is to be extinguished. So he says like this, your negativity, lo, will be extinguished, tirbe. You see, keeping the flame strong and developing a connection with God will get rid of negativity. We do have an extraordinary opportunity. Let's grab it and grow. For Passover, regardless how many people you are, whether you're alone or 2 or 3 people, it does not matter. Do the entire Seder. Do the Seder and see your life transform. My blessing is that may this Shabbat Hagadol be the doorway to true freedom. Being detached to what we believed was important, but rather being attached to values that are important. May this Pesach bring about the strongest connection with God, which means a connection with all of humanity and all of creation. I wish you Shabbat Shalom, and I wish you a Zis and Pesach.